them and I've enjoyed making them. But we got two people who are revisiting my show.
Assalamualaikum, everyone.
We got Qurrat-Ul-Ayn and Imaan Masoom, and they're both here today. And today's topic is a bit more of a touchy subject. So I just wanted, before we start, I just want to say, how's your Ramadan going? Like we start all our shows. How's your Ramadan going?
Well, Ramadan's been good, gone well, gone quick.
So fast.
So yeah.
What about you?
So my Ramadan's gone so quick. Like, I can't even believe it's already gone past. Like,
Can you guys believe it? It Eid's in like 3 days.
exactly.
3-4 days.
Still
if
not
I'm
got
not
an
wrong.
outfit yet.
I've done that. I'm so happy. I actually saw mine out so early, and I'm just so happy that everything's out the way. But how was fasting during Ramadan? How did it feel this year? Like, obviously with the fast being a bit shorter.
Chill. It was actually so chill.
What about you?
Yeah, I feel like it was okay because the time was a lot shorter and the clock only went back like after.
Yeah,
So,
like
yeah,
literally so close
I
to the
feel
end.
like it's
I didn't
fine.
feel it, yeah.
Yeah.
So going into today's show, today's episode is a tender yet uplifting conversation about navigating the challenging waters of grief within the Islamic framework. So before I start, I just want to say, if you are struggling with grief and are affected by anything we are discussing on today's show, remember that you're not alone. Don't hesitate to reach out to your family and friends to comfort and support. Additionally, you can schedule an appointment with your GP for counselling sessions or explore the numerous charities in Leicester that offer grief counselling services. Feel free to message or call into the studio and speak with me and my guest if you guys want to. And I'm sure these lot will not also have an issue with talking to you guys and explaining how to deal with that certain part. So remember, guys, if you do want to message, the number to message is 0774 8855055. That's 0774 8855055. And if you guys want to call in, the number is 0116 4822 That's 0116 4822 So let's start right in. So, Qurrat-Ul-Ayn, do you want to tell everybody today what our story is about?
Okay. My story is a very personal story. It's to do with my brother and how he had passed away. At the time, my brother was 18. He had literally just turned 18 the month before. And what happened was the previous week, my mom and my uncle were ill with the flu. But they had it really serious to the point they couldn't get out of bed. So my brother also got that, but he got the worst of it out of all of us. And what had happened, he had it for a week. My mom called the GP, the normal standard, like, oh yeah, he's been ill for this so long. And they were just, just give him paracetamol. And what's it called? Then it got to such a stage that my brother, he couldn't get out of bed, and it was really bad. But obviously my mom was just like, oh no, just have your paracetamol, just carry on having lots of fluids, you'll get better. And what had happened, we had all gone out for a specific a wedding, and he was at home. My mom made sure, make sure you eat, make sure you have your paracetamol, and then go to sleep and whatnot. And so we had then left. My brother, so basically I have two more older brothers than him. So one had gone, the eldest one had gone out, the second oldest was at home with him. And obviously they both went to go to the bathroom, and you know how normal sibling talk, that don't take too long. So my second oldest brother went outside to smoke a cigarette, and my brother that passed away just went to the toilet. Yeah. So obviously my brother that came from the what's it called?
Outside.
From outside. He came in and he was thinking that tap's running, he's knocking, but there was no response at all. So obviously that's when it was. But obviously, luckily our downstairs toilet never had a lock because of when my grandma was alive and when she was with us. So obviously we could open the door, and he had seen that he had collapsed, and straight away my brother did one thing that I still praise to this day. He rang the ambulance straight away. Yeah. He didn't ring my parents, nothing. So at this time we're still on our way back from I think my auntie's house, because she was going Umrah a couple of days after. So we were on our way back from her house, And obviously we gave way to the ambulance that was coming around us. And obviously on our street, we have a care home. So usually ambulance are always coming there. So it's like nothing new to see an ambulance on our street. But we saw it had gone further up and we saw our door open. That's when my mum's heart like sank and dropped. And my dad quickly parked up the car and he literally just said, like, we all just ran in basically. And my mum literally, because me and my sister were really younger than her. I was 12, my sister was what, I think 10? Yeah. So we both literally were sent upstairs. We weren't allowed to come into the kitchen, to the bathroom, downstairs bathroom. And my mum just ran in. And obviously my brother tried, or on call they tell you what to do until the ambulance arrives. Yeah, so I think my brother was doing the resuscitation and stuff, but obviously nothing was happening. Then obviously the ambulance tried to do what they could, but then they had to take him into hospital because obviously there wasn't enough like facilities to do it at home. And then obviously then they took him to hospital. My mum and brother that was there, they were in the ambulance. They went in the ambulance. They left my brother, my eldest brother, my uncle and my dad, and me and my sister, we were all still at home. And my mum rings my dad and uncle separately and calls them and tell them, oh, you lot come in the car. So it was literally just my oldest brother and me and my sister at home at this point. And then I think about like half an hour later, we get that dreaded phone call. We got that phone call from my parents, from my mum and me, and I've never seen my brother like this, by the way. He literally just collapsed to the floor and he was really emotional and he just said, we had like a nickname for it, my brother, yeah. So he was just like, oh, Madus passed away. And we both broke down. We were all crying at that point. But my brother was adamant on going to see him in the hospital. But then my mum was reluctant because me and my sister were still at home and we're still young. She didn't want us to like bring us there. But I was so happy my brother was really adamant on going there because otherwise me and my sister wouldn't have got that chance to like see him.
The last time?
Properly for the last time. Because then the only last time I did end up seeing him was when he was on the actual like funeral day. So we did end up going because my cousin and his wife ended up coming to pick us up. And we went, and the hospital was already packed with literally all our family, and a lot of people were so emotional. And I think one thing that really struck out to me, because I've never seen the male members of my family, so that's like my dad, my uncle, anyone be really emotional, yeah. Obviously, I see my mom a lot being emotional, yeah. So I think one thing that really stuck out to me is because I saw everyone go to comfort my mom, yeah, because I knew I was going to go sit with her anyway, and I was going to comfort her. I literally just hugged my dad the first time. Like, as soon as I came in, I just hugged my dad because I was like, no one's comforting my dad. So then that's what happened. And bearing in mind, my brother was fit. There was nothing.
He was a basketball player,
He
right?
was a basketball player, yeah. That's that. Yeah.
So obviously that's not something easy to go through, especially at such a young age for the both of you. So I have a few questions just about that. So when you got that phone call and when you lot found out that he's passed away, what was the first thought in your mind? Like, what was the first feelings and the first thing that you just wanted to do at that moment?
Just cry. Genuinely just cry.
You know what? Yeah, like I got that feeling. My heart just sank, and like, because you're so young, you don't really know what to do. Yeah. And at the same time, you want to do something, but you can't. So all you can do is pray. And so when we got that phone call, I was just like, I just couldn't believe it, because it's kind of an unbelievable story, if you get me. He was so young. He had no health conditions whatsoever. And he just passed away like that. And honestly, you wouldn't have expected it from him. Like, you wouldn't have expected him, out of all people, to pass away, which was kind of like, because it was so like unexpected, and sudden. It just came at a time, and all of us, we were just like, we weren't used to it. We were still like, to be fair, I think I was still in shock, because I don't think I registered anything happening at that point. It all just went in my head and went back out. Like, nothing really stayed in my head. So because I didn't register anything, I was just like brought from one place to another. And I feel like it's such a big thing, like social detachment, stuff like that, especially during times of grief, is such a big thing, especially with Asians. And
Oh my days.
Do you guys wish it would have been in any different way? Like, do you guys wish that instead of having so many people around you during that time, you would have just wanted to be alone with your siblings and your parents?
Some points, yeah, I did, because I felt like, because we have bearing in mind, we have a really big family. So obviously, as soon as everyone heard, they all come into our house. And you know what? Honestly, to this day, I still don't know. The whole week was a genuine blur to me. Ask me to recall anything from that week, I wouldn't be able to. And it was just like, I think it's more like, especially at night, it got really like worse, especially in the standards of my mom, because obviously for my mom, she lost her child. Yeah. So for her, it's just constantly hearing her like weep at night, and that went on for like quite a bit of time.
Do you think that had a really big impact on your maturity? Like, do you think this situation made you very much mature?
Yeah, because for me, because I'm the elder sister of me and my sister, right? And I saw that, look, my mom is going through this really, like, it's hit her a lot. Yeah. I seen it, yeah. I was like, I can't let my mom see me cry. So whenever I did cry, I just cried like either on my own or when like no one could see me. And I think that's what forced me to like grow up a lot more, because I was like, I can't let my mom see me cry as well now, because I feel like it's just putting more burden onto her. So I held that, and I forced myself to come into that like older sister role from such an early age. So yeah.
Do you think that built a really good relationship between you both sisters?
Yeah.
I just think we got really close. Yeah. Not just with my sister, I think I got really close with all of my siblings, to be honest, because I just feel like losing a sibling is so unexpected, and like
it showed you a bit more value of your siblings.
Yeah. And like,
So when you guys like think about it again, and like how long did it take you guys to like fully grieve over it? Because I did ask you when you told me you wanted to talk about this, that if you are ready, and like how long into the death do you think it was like, okay, he's gone, now we need to move on?
Yeah, so what it was, I think, again, it's like holding that anger and resentment, and I held that for quite a couple of years, I think, what happened. So from the age of 12 to about like 14, 15, I held it to the point where I wasn't even praying and stuff like that. And I was struggling. I was just like, I'm not happy because I'm not praying. So obviously that's when I started trying to pray again. And I think it was in it was in the Ramadans, either 2020 Ramadan or the 2021 Ramadan, where I just like forced myself. I was just like, you know what, let me start praying. Let me see if that makes a difference. And honestly, that really did make a difference and helped me come to terms with everything. And also, I think talking to people really also helps as well.
Really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect that, because I would feel like it's just bringing up memories again and again.
But I feel like you have to feel those feelings at that time for you to then end up moving on. Because if you just keep it in and keep it bottled up, it's just gonna affect you even more than keeping it into
just
yourself.
want to add on that. So you know how you said that, people coming into the house and stuff, how has it helped you? Well, for me, I think because there was so many people coming in, I only knew not proper family, that sounds bad. I only knew my close, immediate family, but there was so much more extended family coming in, and greeting them was like, oh, I don't really know you, but I'm getting forced to because my mom is. Yeah. But at the same time, having your family near you, especially your immediate, I feel like that was more comforting, because you know that someone's there for you.
You trust them, so you're gonna speak,
and you can also speak to them about it as well.
Did you guys ever open up to any of your aunties, uncles, cousins about this? Like, if you were ever feeling down, did you have like someone in your family, or was it just each other?
It was my cousin.
Your cousin.
My cousin, because obviously at the time it was her. She had literally, on the day that it had happened, we had gone to her house.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So my mom said, just take them home, like, with you. So we stayed at her house for that whole week. And I think it was even when we were walking to the car when we left the hospital, she just hugged us and she was just talking to us, and she was just like, oh, like how, like she just let us speak and just let her talk.
In a way, she had to play an older sister role as well. because she was our older cousin, but we got a lot more closer with her because we were with her for the whole time, and she knew everything going on. She came to our house constantly, and just like she was just there for us.
You just had that comfort person that you knew was there.
Yeah.
And obviously she's also going through something, the fact that she had that own willpower to still stay in front of you guys and help you guys to do it, I think it just shows how much of a bond she really has with you guys. So alhamdulillah. Are you guys still close with her today?
Yes.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah. How about, like, because obviously I know there's, if anyone's watching that's gone through something similar, maybe a different person, not a sibling, but like a parent or grandparent or a cousin or auntie, uncle, and like, how was it with dealing with school? Because as a teenager, my biggest worry, if I ever lost someone, would have been how I dealt with it, because when I go to school, are people going to ask me questions, this, that, whatnot? So I just want to know from you guys, how was it your experience? So then the people at home also know.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest, obviously going back to school after a week, and it's just like everyone just looking at you, that kind of pity look, I genuinely could not stand it. I'll be honest, I genuinely couldn't stand it at all. And it's just got like getting those little like pity comments. Like, I don't want that. I really didn't want that, especially if I was trying to like
Move on
and not even move on, just like come to terms and accept things. I really hated that. That's one thing I actually did not like. But one thing that really made me like kind of happy, or like gave me some sort of peace, was like a lot of like people in my year had siblings in my brother's year that had passed away, and they were like, oh yeah, me and my sister came to your house. And obviously I'll be like, I'm gonna be honest, I genuinely wouldn't be able to and I wouldn't be able to like remember to even tell you that, oh yeah, you did come. But it was just really nice of them, because I was like, for someone who's not seen my brother in however many years, bearing in mind he was in college at that time,
had the consideration to come.
They still came, and it was really nice of them, and I think that's what gave like me kind of some sort of inner peace.
Alhamdulillah. How about you? So sorry, just to clarify before you start speaking, what year were you guys in when it happened?
So I was in year 7.
So you had just started secondary. So you had the biggest change, one of the biggest changes of your life, and then you had a big impact on it. And what about you?
I was in year 5.
Year 5. Okay, so you were still very young. You were at the age of developing and understanding for everything. Okay, sorry, carry on.
No, it's okay. When I went to school, everyone treated me differently. Obviously, they were bound to, because I was like the most different person in the room. And because of that, people, again, pity comments, they would say, oh, like, sorry and stuff. And like, I understand that they're like sympathetic, for, like they feel they feel bad. I understand that they feel like that, but you know, bringing it up again and again,
it's not going to help you.
It didn't help. But like, I'll say one thing, my teachers at school, they were really comforting. Obviously I was young then, so I didn't know how much of an impact it had, especially on teachers from my school that taught him, and teachers in secondary as well that taught him as well. So just like, they also told me, oh yeah, if you need to speak to someone, we're here and stuff. And I was like, yeah, that's fine, because obviously like having an extra person to speak to can't harm you. So yeah.
Do you think for you, Masoom, that obviously because you were really young when it happened, do you think as you grew up and you developed the understanding that, and you understood exactly what happened, do you feel like it impacted you a lot more when you were older than it did when it happened?
No, so when it happened, I think because I was so young, I automatically felt the urge to like mature. So when I was at that age, I forced myself to mature. And so, you know, when things happen like that now, I'm not, obviously when it happened to me, when I was younger, I was really sensitive, because obviously I was young and that was someone really close to me. But now when things happen like that, I'm not as sensitive. So I feel like I had a change in my character. I'm a less sensitive person now, because at the end of the day, I know that death can come at any time. And obviously we don't know when we're all going to go. So I think, yeah, that's a really important outline topic.
So thank you guys for sharing that story. Obviously, it's not easy to come on live air, radio, and share something like that. And I know that there are people out there that might have been through the same thing. And the reason we are doing this show today is that if you guys have any questions or anything that you guys want to talk about, you can either send us a text message or call us in, or you guys can even message, like, if you guys ever see one of us, you can just ask us. And I'm sure these lot won't even mind answering the questions. But this is mainly what it's for. And one thing I want to talk about, like moving on to our second topic, obviously still following on from your story, but understanding grief through the Islamic point of view. Because like you said, you lost your way in your deen. You fell off the wrong path. You didn't go into the bad stuff, but
it's just I just never prayed.
You just stopped doing what you had to do. But I was going to say, in Islam, death is not an end, but it's a tradition to the hereafter. And how does this like change your mindset on grief? If that makes sense.
Okay. I think it's just more like knowing that it's a better life.
So he's not gone somewhere bad, he's gone somewhere good.
Yeah.
No,
and it's just having
the highest rank in Jannah.
I mean,
give your family a lot of sabr.
Just knowing that, having that inner peace with you. He's in a bad world. Just, realistically, what's here in this temporary dunya?
Just a lot more better for him and himself.
And also after that, no, I just feel like after that I understood that, you know, like death isn't something like it shouldn't shock me because it could happen at any time.
It can happen to any of us.
It could happen to any of us in a split second and we don't know it. And I think that's what's so important, because our soul is the only thing that will carry on living, whereas our body, everything in this world is temporary. So even when we die, our soul goes up. We don't stay in our body. Obviously, everything in this world is temporary, and I think we should understand that because from a young age that happened to me, that's when I understood, and that's when I took things like more seriously and like understood that anything can go at a certain time and we don't know it, and because of the unpredictability of things and going, I think we just have to stay aware that anything can happen at a certain time, and we're all temporary in this temporary world.
Just one thing I wanted to go off what you were saying about this world, this dunya being temporary, is when someone passes away, but I even say this when I lose something, and it's the inna ilayhi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. And I think the meaning of that little dua, and it means really to Allah we belong and to Him we shall return. And it's a reminder of our temporary existence. It's basically showing to us that we are Allah's and He will take us back one day, and we should not get attached to this world, because again, this life is a test. Our real goal is the akhirah. So I think it's just that thing that we'll all go there someday. Some will go sooner, some will go after. And I think everyone deals with it in a different way. But just wanted to mention that, because I think that dua I think that's a dua that everyone says, especially during that. And I'm sure you guys had a lot of that dua during that. So I just want to talk about, like, of course, back again with your Islamic journey. For you, Imam Masoom, how was it for you? Like, obviously you were like 10, so I don't expect that you prayed a lot or you did a lot. But like, sorry, one thing I did actually have, madrasa. How was madrasa? Because did you guys still go madrasa?
Yeah. So after that first week, then we had to go back into normality, go back to school and go back to madrasa. And I think at first it was a bit like weird, like, I guess, I don't know. It's just like, obviously, again, it's more with the PE looks and the PE like, oh.
Did you ever get like these looks and stuff from people who like maybe didn't like you, or like just you'd never spoken to?
Yeah, definitely. I used to get so many looks from people. And you know what? They used to say sorry and stuff, but they used to be like, they used to give me a lot of PE, and I knew that, like, come on now, we don't speak that much. So I feel like everyone they just changed. Like, you can definitely see people's true colors when you're going through stages of grief. And when people see that you're in a vulnerable position, they can automatically just switch their personality straight away. So yeah.
Do you guys think that was like a bit like, whoa, like?
Yeah, and I think obviously at that age it makes you realize a lot of things, like who's actually
your friend and who's not.
Yeah.
Just shows how people switch up. And again, it's like one of those things, people will only like value you if you're famous or you're gone. And it just shows, like, it literally
they don't care
about you now
They'll only care about you
until there's actually something that they should like actually worry about, if that makes sense. But I want to talk about some Quran and Hadiths that offer solace and guidance during times of loss. Do you want to talk about them?
So I'll talk about Surah Yusuf, actually. I think there are so many stories in the Quran that like show so many prophets going through grief and like stages of, and they're like the way they were resilient during those times. And I think that is such a that has such a big impact on Muslims, especially in this ummah, especially I would say Muslims in Gaza, our brothers and sisters in Gaza, Yemen, Syria, all everywhere around the world, Muslims are going through something, and it's like having that faith in Allah. I think it's the main thing that will help us.
Iman strong.
Yeah, when our Iman is strong, I think that will help us get through that pain. And so I think stories like Surah Yusuf,
it shows us how he stayed calm after everything his brothers did
to him, and especially forgiving them as well. It just shows us that, like, I feel like for him, because he forgave them, I feel like that's when he was at peace with himself. And I think it's very important for us to be at peace with ourselves when in times like that.
And again, leading back to this forgiving thing, guys, the one thing I like live by is don't hold grudges. Only because you never know when someone can go. And especially hearing after your guys' stories and the fact that he was literally so fit and healthy and it just happened just like that. I think for me, what I've learned a lot through your lot's conversations, because we spoke before the show, and obviously we had our own conversation about it, and what I feel like I seen and I understand is anyone can go at any time. So just like obviously keep it like really, just don't hold grudges and make sure you're at peace with everyone, because you never know. So we have a text. What advice would you like to give to listeners who are going through grief? And I don't know if there's more to the text. Sorry? Anyways, okay, we'll carry on with that in a minute. But another one I wanted to talk about was Surah Al-Baqarah. Okay, wait, the text has come through. Sorry, guys. What advice would you like to give to listeners who are going through this grief? So, who wants to talk about that? I'm guessing Qurrat-Ul-Ayn.
I just say, honestly, if you just stop praying, just pray to Nafil. Just pray. Or listen to Quran. It starts, obviously you'll start by listening and by praying. You'll start to come to some peace, like inner peace yourself. You'll go through your stages of anger, upset, depression, denial, whatnot, because obviously at first it's your denial stage. You won't be like, oh no, I'm not going to accept it. But then obviously then you come to like the anger stage, which I was at.
What do you think was the hardest stage dealing through grief?
I think it was anger stage, because obviously holding that anger and resentment, I'm gonna be honest, it wasn't good for me.
So for someone, if you looked at yourself, if you looked at someone who was going through the same thing right now, and like that's you in that self, what would you tell them?
I would tell them, go through these stages, but alongside those stages, just pray, because by praying, keep
your Imaan strong while you're going through everything. Just hold on to your deen.
Don't completely lose it, I'd say.
I also feel like having a positive mindset is definitely a big thing. Like, you can't just you can't just go into a big spiral of like, oh yeah, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that, I'm not going to speak to this, I'm not going to speak to them, I should be by myself, this and that. It's okay to be by yourself at times, but it's also okay to surround yourself with people that love you, like your family. And I think it's honestly such a big thing to have a positive mindset, because it can affect like your social like, for example, if you have anxiety and stuff, it can affect that as well. If you have depression, it can affect that as well. So I feel like staying positive during times like this, I know it can be hard, but I think it's such a big thing that us as Muslims, us as Muslims should do, especially if we're going through such a big situation.
And I think, again, it's just one of those things that Allah's always testing us. And another surah I wanted to talk about was Surah Al-Baqarah, and it goes, Allah does not burden a soul beyond that it can bear, which for me, I feel like it's comforting to know that, but everyone is going through hardships, and at the end of the day, it's just a test from Allah. So we should not worry or stress. But even if we are going through these hardships, He's given us these hardships so we can turn back to Him.
Yeah, exactly.
He's given us them so we can ask for repentance towards Him. We can repent. We can sit there and we can talk to Him. That's why these hardships come, because He wants us to turn to Him. Yeah. So I feel like, again, this life is a test. It's all temporary. So like, even if you guys are going through something like that, always, like Qurrat-Ul-Ayn said, turn to Allah, because it's the best thing.
It's the best thing. It's the only thing, to be honest, that will help you, or that will help you get through your stages. And especially the depression stage. Not a lot of people talk about it, especially from a kid's view. And obviously at that time, it's a lot. And obviously, because you're still a kid yourself, you don't even process that you're depressed.
You don't even know what depression is at that point. You're just like, I'm sad, but I don't know what this is.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of emotions that just overwhelm you.
Yeah.
No, but I also want to add to that, and like, I read this quote saying that Allah only tests His strongest soldiers. So I feel like taking tests like that, taking pain like that, and grieving, I feel like it's just a big test. And I feel like in order to like be spiritually aware, we should connect ourselves with Allah, we should pray, we should keep a positive mindset. And I think that's the best thing that will help us go through stages of grief.
Oh, can I just say one more thing?
Yes.
Is just feel your feelings. At the time, whenever, just feel your feelings.
Sorry, a question about that. Yeah. Would you say, because I'm guessing you bottled up a lot of your feelings throughout this, so do you feel like there was any way like to take out, like maybe writing it all down, or talking to someone else, or do you think like that was all just like...
I don't know. I think more for me, I don't know, at the time, because I had already made up my mind, I was like, I'm not going to cry in front of my mom. I think because of that, I like forced myself to keep a lot of it in.
So because you were trying to hide the crying, you think that you
ended up bottling up everything.
Oh.
Yeah.
Again, sorry. I just wanted to remind you guys, if you guys are struggling with grief and are affected by anything that we are discussing today on our show, remember that you are not alone. And don't hesitate to reach out to your family and friends for comfort and support, which Qurrat-Ul-Ayn and Imaan Masoom, who have been through something like this, are also saying. And additionally, you can schedule an appointment with your GP for counselling sessions, or explore the numerous charities in Leicester that offer grief counselling services. Feel free, of course, again, to message or call us today into the studio, to speak to us and Qurrat-Ul-Ayn or Imaan Masoom, who are ready to help you guys. And again, if you guys want to send a text message, the number to send a text message is 0774 8855 That's 0774 8855 So moving on, I wanted to talk about coping. Sorry, I forgot how to speak English there for a second. Coping mechanisms and rituals. So, like you said, praying namaz obviously helped you a lot, and obviously Quran, listening to Quran and stuff. So what did that do for you? Like when you, after you done it and you seen the change, what was the light bulb in your head that was like, this is what I needed?
I think it was more just like, again, because I was not happy when I was not praying at all. So I was just, let me try pray, see
Yeah.
if that makes a difference. And honestly, it did, to the point where I just was like, oh yeah, praying does make a really, like, it makes a big difference, honestly. It makes you feel like in a peace with yourself, but to the point where you're just like, oh, I need to be doing this for me to feel like content and with peace, but like about whatever's going on in my life. And
I feel like not only that, but praying, it instills a certain type of tranquility within you, being calm, being at peace with yourself. And I feel like being spiritually connected with Allah, being a very spiritual person, I feel like it holds a certain peace. And I feel like that peace is unmatched, especially in times of grief. And when you lose someone, especially so close to you, you don't know what you're doing. So I feel like connecting with Allah was the most important thing.
Like I was asking you about bottling up your feelings.
Yeah.
Would you pour your feelings out to Allah once you started praying?
Yeah.
And would you say that was helpful?
I would. Whatever I wanted to do, cry, whatever I wanted, I would cry my whole feelings out, do everything while I was praying. And you know what, that actually made me feel so much better.
Alhamdulillah. I'm happy you found something to help you throughout.
Yeah.
And again, for everybody listening at home, we have our two people here who have been through this, and I'm sure just the fact that they have come on today's show shows how much they wanna help.
Yeah.
And when Qurrat-Ul-Ayn, obviously, because she's the older one, sorry, Mama, she's the older one, and when she spoke to me, and obviously so did Imam Masoom, guys, I promise you, she's a very important part in our shows, isn't she? Like, our shows will not be able to be without her. No, but obviously when Qurrat-Ul-Ayn and Imaan Masoom came to me and spoke to me about this, I didn't even know about their brother until like 2 weeks ago. I didn't even realize. And when I went home the other day, I spoke to my sister, and my sister and your brother were in the same year group.
Yeah, so see, like this.
And she was telling me, and she was like, oh, I heard about that and stuff. And she's like, oh, there's no way. It's crazy how after this many years, you're reuniting with his sisters and you're making a show about it when we were in the same year group. And it's just one of those things that Allah works in mysterious ways.
Yeah.
And maybe it was meant for us not to meet, so that you could come on our show, talk about your experience, and then now people at home who are, inshallah, our goal is that whoever's listening to this, if you guys are going through something that is similar, I don't want to use the word the same, similar, because it can be your grandparents, it can be your brothers, sisters, aunties, uncle, mom, dad, it could even be a cousin, it could even be a far relative, but your far relative could be your best friend. You never know. And it could be a friend as well. One question I do have for you guys is, were you guys close to your brother?
Yeah. As you know, honestly, as much as me and him were known to fight like a cat and a dog, we used to fight, but I think that's what kept us really close.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But I think, again, at the end of the day, that's just sibling love. And again, it's just one of those things that it's just gonna happen within siblings.
Yeah.
Like,
and then it'd be funny because me and my brother would be gang up for my younger sister.
So Imam Masoom was the little target because she was like the little one.
Basically, yeah. But I think I was close to my brother as well.
Yeah.
I was close to all of my brothers, I'll be honest. But I think him, because
you're the little princess because you're the youngest.
Yeah.
Sorry,
but
I think it's the youngest
me when she came.
No, but I think for me as well, I understand that because I'm the youngest and I get a baby like there's no tomorrow, and I'm spoiled. And but we're the youngest. What can we say? Youngest have it the best. I know my siblings still complain about it till today because I am my father's favorite. You can't even hear me saying this right now, but I am his favorite, and that's what I'm saying. Is this one of those things that within siblings you'll always come to a bickering? I'm be honest, when I see siblings who don't fight, I'm just like,
how are you siblings?
How are you siblings? Like don't get me wrong, I don't have a barrier, mashallah for that. But how are you siblings and not arguing and fighting and stuff? Because at the end of the day, it's just like a friend, and I don't want a friend. I want a sibling. I want someone who I can argue with, I can fight with. And I think after my sister got married and stuff, it was really funny because me and my sister, we used to share a room, but we would fight so much. But at the end of the day, she was always my sister, and I knew if I needed her, I'd go to her. And with my brother as well, it's just the fact that he's just maybe because there's like such a big age difference between me and my siblings, but I feel like at the end of the day you just know that that's that one person that you can trust and you can go to. So I feel like the fact that you guys had each other, I think I'm assuming that it helped you both.
It did.
I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
So do you feel like if you never had your sister you would have felt a lot more?
I think I would felt more alone because there's quite a big age gap between me and my oldest brothers. Bear in mind my brothers are like 27, 20
something.
Yeah, so it's quite a big age gap between us. So I feel like I wouldn't be able to relate, but even at the time they were still fairly old enough to like obviously process everything in their own way. So I don't know, I feel like because of that me and my sister could relate more because we're in this kind of same age.
Yeah, and I feel like having someone that's gone through the exact same thing, losing the exact same person, having the same bond that you had with that person, that other person has as well. So like you know how they feel and you understand it. And like, don't get me wrong, obviously there were so many people coming up to me saying, oh yeah, we understand, we know how you feel. You
don't understand.
This and this, we've lost this person.
But
you don't understand. I feel like they definitely do not understand because having a bond, like a sibling bond, is so much more different to having a bond with probably one of your other relatives. And I feel like that's such an important thing because I feel like they made my suffering feel like it was invalid. Like they'd just make it they would
just cut it down a little bit.
Yeah.
But do you feel like
Can I just add something?
Yeah, sorry, Karen.
I was just gonna say is that comparisons. I hate it. Horrible, absolutely.
That's why I said I don't want to say it's the same. It's similar because you're losing someone, but you're not losing the same person.
Yeah,
exactly.
But I'm gonna be honest, the comparisons that were made to losing it, like again, I lost my brother. He was literally 18. He was my age. He was starting out his life, so I'm not obviously looking at it from that perspective now as well. But they're like talking about we lost our grandparents or great grandparents and only that. But I'm sitting there and I'm just like, but
that's my brother.
Not only that, they lived their life. They were able to they
were able to see everything. They were able to see their kids, their grandkids. He's not. He didn't even have a wife.
He didn't start his life.
He didn't even start his life. He was still in college. Yeah. But guys, we have 2 minutes left. Like I don't know where the time's going. I'm looking at the time. I was like, what's going on here? But oh my god, I'm sorry, my mind's gone blank because that's crazy. I don't know how we have 2 minutes left. This is our last show of Ramadan, guys. Until next year, and then I'll see you guys back, inshallah. And then maybe next year, someone else will have their shows. I'm not saying anything. Anyways, moving on. But again, as we wrap up today's show, guys, let's remember that grief is a natural part of a human experience. We'll all go through it, especially as Muslims. We need to remember that this life is a test. It's all temporary, and we're all looking for the akhirah and not this life because, again, this dunya is temporary. And of course there's people everywhere around us to help us. And again, if you are struggling with grief and are affected by anything we are discussing again on today's show, remember that you are not alone, and do not hesitate to reach out to family and friends. You can schedule an appointment with your GP for counselling sessions or reach out to many charities and organisations, especially in Leicester, that will offer you support. But I just want to give a big thank you to our 2 guests here because honestly, behind the scenes of everything, I don't think I would have been able to do it without them because Qurrat-Ul-Ayn actually gave us a few of our show ideas. And I think with my show, there's kind of that thing that everyone just kind of puts it together and they give their own opinion. And Imaan Masoom, honestly, saviour of the day, came in 3 times to help me. Qurrat-Ul-Ayn came in twice. And everybody else that also came on my shows, Jazakallah so much. Jazakallah everyone for tuning in. Literally, I remember at the beginning of the year, I was so scared to do these shows, like last year, when I started. And I think just seeing everyone say, oh, it's so good, just made me feel so much better. But just before I end my show, guys, don't forget that Ramadan FM will continue broadcasting 24/7 throughout the year on DAB channel 9B. So stay tuned and online. Keep listening. Who knows, I might come back up. We'll see, inshallah. But thank you for letting us keep you company during the month of Ramadan, and we feel absolutely honoured to have had that audience join us. May Allah keep you all well, and let's remember each other in our du'as. Enjoy the last days of Ramadan, and we wish you guys Eid Mubarak. Have an amazing day. And again, honestly, thank you for everybody, the messages, the comments on the YouTube video, everything. Jazakallah so much, honestly means so much. And thank you guys for coming.